If you would like to see how I made this copper bangle, then stick around for my poorly edited video and let me know what you think in the comments, I guess. Appreciate you. I'm starting off by using some 20 gauge wire here. I'm going to cut off 2 links that are 18.5 inches long. I decided on 18 inches long because, for one, I have to double these wires over to twist them, but my base wires are going to be at least 8 inches long, so I wanted the twisted wires to reach that 8-inch mark once they were twisted and hammered out. Here I'm folding them in half and squeezing them down until I have my middle point. And then I'm going to take my round nose pliers and stick them inside that circle, cross my wires over, and start twisting. Twist, twist, twist. A lot of twisting. Doing that off camera, I came up with 2 pieces. Now I'm hammering out those twisted wires to get them to be flat. There's the 2 links of wire twisted together. Now I have my 16 gauge wire, and I'm going to cut 4 8.5 inch pieces. On the second step of my 6-step looper, I'm going to loop the ends, each end. I wasn't sure if this step would help me at the very end of this project, so I just kind of ad-libbed this to see if it would help. And it did, but it didn't. Now I'm back to my 20 gauge wire here. We're up the 4 16 gauge wires and try to get all those loops together. I'm going to stack the 2 twisted wires on top. With a 20 gauge, I'm going to give myself a decent tail. You saw me grab onto it, and then I'm going to start wrapping all 6 of these together. Here I am smushing that wrap down to get it tighter around and using my bent nose pliers to just kind of get the wrap tighter. I'm going to wrap a couple more times just for security. Smush it down a couple more times for security. Here I'm going to take those 2 twisted wires and bend them straight up, and then go back to my 20 gauge wire and wrap around the 4 16 gauge wires 15 times. Then hammer it out to kind of make it flatter. I'm going to pull these 20 gauge twisted 20 gauge wires down and twist them again on themselves in a little decorative thing. There's going to be a lot of finagling with these twisted wires to try to get them to lay and sit right. What I should have done is, once I got the twisted part, is take my bent nose pliers and bent those wires closer to the 16 gauge, so that way the wrapping would be easier. Now I'm going to take that 20 gauge wire again and wrap around all 6 of those wires 4 times, making sure that I'm smushing it down so that way I get as tight of a wrap as I possibly can. I apologize for it not staying in focus. I'm not good at editing or me staying in camera view. Now I'm hammering down everything that I just did to kind of get it flatter. And I'm going to do that to the rest of that. And there is the finished part. Hammer that down a little bit more. Here I am taking my flat nose pliers and trying to finagle the wire together and kind of get it in the position that I want it to be in, hammering it down some more. And here I grab a round object so that way I can bend the bangle around it. Grab my flat nose, finagle the wires so that they lay correctly. And that's the finished product. Kind of big. Kind of be an armband or something. But there you go. Thank you.